This is the same printer that was in here last week. It's printing one of the things that I'm going to talk about. And so it is the Pi Top.
Oh, that.
So I wanted to pick something that was not, I mean, a lot of people know about this, and it's not now 3D printed, but the initial prototyping was. And so it's basically a Raspberry Pi laptop, for those who don't know. It runs Linux, and it is designed so that somebody who can't even afford a Chromebook or something could supposedly afford one of these. And it's a small startup by a couple of undergrad students and I think one grad student in London. And they managed to get an Indiegogo campaign funded for $170,000 with the main goal of, like I said, giving cheap access. And even though $230 is more than a Chromebook, which is kind of funny.
So isn't that what they're giving now?
They kind of, they completely failed in that respect. So with the injection molded case, it's way too expensive. So this is the two different iterations. The orange one on the right is their first iteration, and then the purple one is their final design. And then over on the right, there's what the injection molded case looks like. And basically, you could print it with anything, even though someone with very little CAD experience could actually design this. They've gone through several iterations, and it's just an interesting example. So, not the best example of a company actually selling a printed thing, but this is an example of what you could do, and it is actually beneficial because if you want, you say 3 or 4 laptops for a school that can't afford any of this stuff, somebody with basic Linux knowledge and knows how to solder or anything could build one of these for next to nothing. And you can print it like I showed on the raw stock, and you can actually modify it with very little experience with CAD. And I was saying the Chromebook would be an alternative at like 170, I think is what you can pick one up for now. And then low performance Windows is around 250 to 300. So it's not that much cheaper, but you could get, that's true, I guess you can get a netbook for even cheaper. Yeah, it kind of was relevant and then became irrelevant when Microsoft's new CEO came into power. So my second application was actually done by Stratasys, and everybody knows Stratasys is huge. As you can see, 172 million just this first quarter in net sales. So yeah, they are selling stuff. They're not actually failing because they made 15% more this quarter than they made last quarter or something like that. So they're still gaining market share, even though MakerBot was a horrible, horrible decision. So yeah, they specialize in commercial 3D printers. And very recently they actually 3D printed a ski, which I had not heard of until this morning. And you can see in the far left photo, they actually they printed a mold to actually cut out the very bottom layer on a ski, because you can't 3D print that it's called P-Tex. It's a very, very soft plastic. They cut that out and then glued the metal edge. Again, they didn't print the metal edge because you couldn't make it strong enough very easily with a 3D printer. But they printed all the core and rigid backbone structure in 2 pieces, and then had all the used a honeycomb to make it hollow and actually lighter than most skis, not all. Interesting. So they used that Ultem 9085. That's why I was confused. And yeah, their engineers claimed that it's better than the skis they own. So they must own some pretty terrible skis. They build hollow polymer skis just to see if it's even possible. One benefit might be if you have a very, very strange body shape, they could print a specific ski for you, even though that I don't see that being an issue, because they already make all the size ranges with all the different arcs. And like I said, wood core and carbon fiber with a honeycomb are the other alternatives. So it's something you'd sell, but a good exercise in engineering.